I thought, and remember, I'm devil's advocate. I thought Hamas, they made it seem like some Muslim terrorist group or something.
They're not. America's the only country in the world, in the UN, that labels them as a terrorist
that's
organization.
not really true either.
Okay.
Like half the world labels
not half the
them as
world.
terrorist organizations.
The entire developed world has labeled them a terrorist organization.
Why is that? Is it
Because
propaganda and believing America?
It is for just one fact, which is that they carry out terrorist attacks constantly against civilians, and that when they do attack, unlike an army attacks soldiers. Armies engage with other
There's no soldiers
armies
in Gaza, though. So what about Israel?
They have 30,000 troops in Gaza.
They're
Hamas.
not an army, though. They're a governing body. They're the government.
What do you
of the
think
Gaza
an
Strip.
army? What do you think troops are? They are troops for the governing body. There's 30,000 of them.
Yeah,
and they committed a genocide in Israel.
It wasn't
a week
genocide.
ago.
It was an attack.
Not
That's
a
two
week
different
ago.
things.
Can we can we back up a little
In the
bit?
most brutal way that people have seen
But why, though?
in almost
Why?
a century.
Why?
Why did they babies?
They didn't. Babies.
Why did they burn
I came
people
with
alive?
receipts. Well, Godfrey,
Why did
please.
they slaughter families
Godfrey,
in their homes?
I came with receipts.
That's a good
I gave
question.
your engineer a bunch of news articles that
do you
came out
have-
that said that the Hamas heading
We'll
babies
play
was
fake
fake information.
We'll play stuff so we can go on that.
Why don't we play the Hamas videos?
Can we rewind a little bit? Because I think there's a lot of people who, which me specifically, I don't know. I've been researching all day how we got to this point. So,
I'll tell you how we got to this point. In 1948, there was something called the Nakba. Nakba means the catastrophe. It was when hundreds of thousands of Jewish people were granted refuge in Palestine.
Okay.
They came and they militarized themselves and they took over. And Palestine became Israel. In 1948, they expelled 750,000 Palestinians. They Palestinians by the thousands. I actually also gave your engineer videos of soldiers from 1948 saying that they were Palestinian women. They were killing people. They were killing people with machine guns, and they're laughing about it. This is in 1948.
Before that,
it was Palestine.
Before that was the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
The Ottoman Empire, 1900s.
Right. Yes.
Right. You have the Ottoman Empire understood they occupied that area. There were Christians, Jews, and Muslims living there in peace at one time.
Okay.
So then,
more or less. More or less.
When did the British come fuck everything
1948,
up?
World War II.
The British came even before that with the Balfour Declaration, which was probably more around like 1917, 1918.
Right, which is important because Britain occupied they were in control of the area, right? And then so I'm also not sure about what place Zionism in Europe has to, how did that end up? The whole idea of could somebody explain Zionism?
Well, Zionism is an old idea in Judaism. Jews were, of course, expelled from their historic indigenous land of Israel many times over their 3,000-year history. And so Zionism is the belief that Jews should have a homeland in Israel.
Could I ask?
And it really took hold after World War II, after the genocide of the Jews.
So wait,
but
Theodore Herzl.
I know where you want to go.
But the Ashkenazi,
is
that's
not the same
European.
Yes.
So because the Jewish people you're talking about would they be the Sephardic ones?
Jews.
Okay,
yeah.
I want to I'm just trying to make sure I get shit right.
So
And then there are Mizrahi Jews
Mizrahi
that are from the Middle
Fashion
East.
designers.
But you're the best. You are the best.
Yes.
I read the news.
Mizrahi,
There's something about the Zionism that was going on in Europe, where there was this idea of the fact of a country for a country for people that has no country.
Yep.
That was their.
That was some of the propaganda that they used, but this idea of the Jews returning to their ancestral homeland that God gave them in the Bible has to do with
and that
what
they've lived with for 2,000
Theodore
years.
Herzl, who is kind of like the founder of the modern day Zionism.
Herzl?
Yes.
Yeah, that is
that's
like
what I wanted.
not 100 years old, not even.
You got a picture of this Theodore Herzl dude? Herzl. I think it'd be
Also,
H-E-R-T-Z.
it's a Zionism. Also, directly it talks. My understanding, if I'm wrong, correct me. That Judaism is not just a religion; that it's an ethnic. It combines the idea of being a Jew to an ethnic origin.
But just in America, it always used to be Aha!
Yeah.
Kind of hot.
So that's 19. Fair enough.
So where is he from?
Kind of my type.
I think it's from Austria.
Was he? He's from Austria. Oh shit! Here we go. He's from Austria. Okay, Austria.
So you have this Zionist movement in Europe, right? Which is kind of brings ethnic origins with Judaism and kind of combines the two.
So it would be ethnic because anytime we'd say, "Oh, he looks like a Jewish person," it'd always be the European version,
Right, but there's...
And then you would know, I know guys that are African Jews. Like, I'm Igbo, right? And there's Igbo Jews in Nigeria. Like, but I discovered it later. I was like, damn! Yeah. But all we thought about was the Jewish nose and the, you know.
Right.
So
the
that,
propaganda.
The Ashkenazi.
The Ashkenazi ones, right? When you started to really get educated
There aren't too many
about it.
tiny noses in the Middle East. I'm just going
Not
to
a
put that
lot
out
in
there.
general. As a rule,
I think
the
that's...
noses
Mind
are
you, neither of
voluminous.
ours are in their original form.
Afraid not.
So I think that's important to reference the historical reference of how there was this migration to Israel because people
After the Holocaust.
So what was it
after the Holocaust
before? Was it all Palestine?
It's called Palestine, yeah.
It was called straight
Yeah.
Palestine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
now
it was called Israel.
When?
And then
when?
for thousands of years.
What?
We're not talking about
Judea,
another-
Yes,
Judea
we are.
and
We
Samaria,
are
it was
talking
called
about thousands of
Eretz
years, though.
Yisrael, the land of Israel, but the modern state of
Correct.
Israel as we know it wasn't created till 1948. And if you're going to say, oh, it was always called Israel, the people of Israel, but the land wasn't really called that it was Israel.
It
I mean,
was.
unless
It's been
we're
called
going
different- it was.
according to the Bible,
If you look
which
at a
is in
map,
history.
if you look at a map
Yeah.
from 1947, it says Palestine.
That's okay, but it's
Well,
always
that's
been
facts,
Israel.
then.
Yeah,
But
you
that's a
can't-
fact
I
that
don't
it was
think-
called
Can we show a
Palestine.
map?
It's always been Israel.
Hey, can you show a map of 19 a map of Palestine, Israel, Palestine?
I also sent your.
I mean,
I
what,
also
is,
sent
what
your
does that mean?
producer. I also
It's
sent your.
always been Israel. I feel like that's
I
like
also sent
part
your
of the
producer-
problem that people have this sort of mentality that it's always been Israel. It'll always be Israel.
Well, here's the problem.
It's Israel. It's ours because God gave it to us, and no one's going to
very
take
nice.
it away.
Let's say
Jewish supremacy
let's
is
say
a
something
problem.
balanced.
Whoa.
Let's say something
And
balanced.
Ashkenazi supremacy is even a bigger part of Jewish supremacy because they do
Which-
subjugate other
Can you
Jews of
confirm?
different colors.
Wait,
Let's say
wait.
something-
Can you
let's say
confirm that in
something
1947 it was
balanced.
called Palestine?
Let's say something
Because you seem to.
Okay,
It has
wait.
you seem-
been.
Let's see,
Let's
The British mandate of Palestine.
Let's say something that makes sense. It has always been called Israel, and it has also been called Palestine. And the problem is that you can't say Israel belongs all to the Jews or Israel belongs all to the Palestinians. That's the problem. The problem is it's called both.
I 100%
inclined to
agree.
Okay.
The problem
Historically,
is
a
that there's
whole bunch of people settled in
Two
around.
nations live there.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. And
So
they-
But one
true.
nation
We need
is
one
getting
solo
treated.
shot.
But one nation is getting treated a whole
Look at
lot
my
worse.
people.
well, one nation had its babies. So
So here's the question.
I'm sorry. I gotta speak up about
I'd
this
like to
baby
know-
thing
It's
because,
bullshit.
as far as I know,
I heard it's false.
40
It's false.
babies being beheaded is pure lies. And
False.
a
False.
newscaster said it that she heard an Israeli
False.
soldier say
Yeah,
it.
that's not-
Then
that's
she
dangerous.
came out after
It's
and said it
dangerous.
wasn't
Very
true.
dangerous
It's
to say.
And it's
fucking
being
dangerous.
used to rile up Islamophobia, and it's very dangerous. And I'm sorry, Hamas did enough bad things. We don't need to make
Thank
up
you. We
more
don't need a
bad
baby.
things. We don't need to say
Never.
there's mass rapes and they're babies
But there
when they're
were
not.
mass-
Bad
and
enough that they kidnapped.
They dragged bleeding women, bleeding from their
What
vaginas.
proof do you have this
through the
other than
streets.
one video of a woman with bloody pants
But
in the
where
back?
did she
When
come
even the
from?
Israeli military sent out a statement that said that all claims of have not been
I
substantiated.
also have
They
a
didn't
video
say
of
that.
a
Okay.
woman
The
who
video,
was.
I'll tell you. Wait, can I say where the
Okay,
video
no,
came
of
from?
course,
Can I say
of
where the
course you
Let me
can.
cite my sources.
Sure.
My sources are Hamas.
Where? Let me see
The
it.
sources
Let's
Hamas.
pull it up.
Pull up your
Hold on.
Telegram.
Pull it up.
Pull up your Telegram.
Pull it
The
up.
sources are the Hamas Telegram channel. That's where we got all these videos. Every video, every picture of the atrocity that happened
Let me see
a
the
week
photos.
ago.
That's-
Look it
that's
up.
not
Why do I have to
true.
look it up if
So,
you saw it?
I'm
Pull it
sorry,
up.
this is propaganda, and I just want to bring up a point. About a year ago,
It's just
an
facts.
Israeli journalist named Shirin Abu Akleh was murdered in the West Bank.
She was
Well, hold on. And as soon as she was killed, Israel started circulating videos of how she was killed and shot by a Palestinian. Later, it came to be revealed that these videos took place in a completely different place. They had nothing to do with Shirin Abu Akleh's death, and that Israel, in fact, killed, Israel, Shirin Abu Akleh.
See
Wow.
how confused we are?
I am confused
No one's
because of the
confused.
propaganda. No, Israel shot her and they killed her. And I'm sorry, but Israeli propaganda has been going on since 1948 with such things as a land with no people for
And
people
would you
with no
say
land.
that they have more because I was walking in 34th Street, and there was a
buzzing.
gigantic picture of the Israeli flag, massive, like on the was those Megatron, those trucks. That it was massive.
But you know
and
what
it's like because they have more power. Is
they
it
control
America
everything.
allies
Money.
with them, right? Doesn't America give money to Israel?
billions.
Billions every year.
Billions.
They
Like
also
tax
give
money.
billions of dollars to Iran that funds Hamas. So America actually,
You know who-
Okay,
you know who-
okay.
America
Here we go, here we go.
I wouldn't say billions of dollars
$6
to Iran.
billion they
Iran,
just gave
let's go.
Iran. They billions. America.
But do you know who started Hamas? Israel. To rebel against the PLO.
Really?
That's a fact.
That's a lie.
Okay,
Wait.
there are
That's a
Israeli
lie.
military officials who are on record saying that
They
their
started-
biggest mistake is creating Hamas.
They wanted a group to rebel against the PLO, and the Arabs were like, "No, we're riding together. Fuck Israel," and they got together.
And did you say they poisoned Arafat at the time
Yes!
too?
Yeah.
Because Arafat, I remember because growing up watching
That's true.
Arafat.
Israel started
The
Hamas.
PLO, that's the Palestinian Liberation Organization. I remember
Facts
that.
really seem
but
to
they
bother
made
you.
him to be out
I'm alright.
like a fucked up dude too.
and he was more secular. He wanted to like secularize.
That's because he
Palestine.
helped sign the peace treaty, the original peace treaty with the PLO. The Hamas went against the PLO because he felt that the PLO had lost their way and they were too soft. And so this is why
They weren't terroristy enough.
So they created.
that's what he
so
thought.
Israel created Hamas
to rebel against
They
the
did
PLO.
it.
to rebel against
Yes,
the
they did.
PLO.
Let's be
What
honest, it's the
happened?
same thing.
So who created Hamas?
It's the same thing
Scary
that.
So it was like some Trojan horse shit.
This is
By the way, it is like this has happened. America does this all the time.
all the time.
All the time.
And this
They
happens
create-
a lot.
Yeah.
And not only did listen,
Who
they
funded
they weren't
ISIS?
single-handedly responsible
America.
for creating Hamas, but they helped fund Hamas, and because through Israel, Hamas was able to exist. But Israel gives Hamas purpose. Besides, who created them?
So wait,
Why?
wow,
Can we?
this is
Let me
crazy.
ask everybody a question on
Israel
Godfrey. Let me ask.
mandated them to people. It's just
Okay,
we just-
talking about is spreading Islamophobia, and it
But
just
I-
shows
no
that
matter how-
you're trying to
But
put
I would-
against all
but I would
Muslims
never.
and make all Arab people think bad
but that's-
because
No matter-
there are
but
no
that's an insane
actual
thing to
truthful.
say.
Look
That's
at that! Look at that! Look
Okay.
at that!
Do
Look
you-
at that!
do
Look
you
at that!
Somebody
look at
read
that.
it. Somebody read it.
I'll read it.
I'll read it.
Israel-
Let
Israel-
Karen read it.
Do you think
Karen,
that
read it.
do you
I'll read
think
it.
that what
I'll
I
read it.
want
Yeah,
is
in
to
the mic. Let me
incite
do it.
Islamophobia?
Okay.
Is that
Or
what
be
you
in the
think
mic.
I'm doing?
Hold on.
That's what other people want.
CNN International update. Israel cannot confirm the specific claim that babies were beheaded in Hamas attack, and an official says contradicting previous public statement.
But why don't we pull up when they do confirm it? There's for
Is
everything,
there proof
yes,
of them
for every
confirming it?
quote that you
There's
pull
no
up,
confirm-
there is another.
Okay,
quote
well, what does it say here? Read that.
rebutting
Read
it.
that. This is a New York Post.
Biden
Yeah,
did
we
not
can't trust the
actually
Post.
see confirmed pictures of terrorist children, as he claimed the White House clarified.
The Post is kind of.
I brought 6 news articles, so pull them all up.
Who did you? Can you? What is the video you wanted us to show?
Although, basically, this is old soldiers.
No, send it to him.
I did. It's
This is from the
47
documentary
seconds.
called Tentura, which is about one of the villages that in 1948 experienced massacres at the hand of Israeli militias.
This is soldiers confirming that they were Palestinians. Soldiers confirming that they went on and they.
Can you show us that?
There's no confirmation that any
Let's
that.
pull up the video of Israeli babies in cages and Hamas terrorists left.
Those were Arab
actually,
babies.
one of those
Those were
videos has
Arab
been exposed
babies.
as being
They were Arab
Palestinians
babies.
that
So
were kept
Hamas-
by Israel.
No, it was
So
Israel
Hamas
putting
puts
babies in
Arab
camp.
babies
No,
in
it
cages,
wasn't.
and you're okay with it?
No, that was actually
Are you
that
out of
video
your
was
mind?
actually
No,
proven
Are
to
you
be
That feels a little
Israel
strong.
putting
That does.
putting
And
Palestinian
I-
babies
Hold
in
on,
cages.
say
Hold on, hold on.
Say something,
Let's
say
keep in
something.
mind it's a lot of us here.
Wild.
Let him
We
say- I got it. Go on.
to the extent that obviously people are going to feel impassioned on in this argument. When something is being sort of argued or potentially disproven, to lean into that and say, so what you're saying is you're okay with this thing, with this atrocity that's been committed.
Gaslighting.
If we're going to
Straw
do
man.
that,
But it's
if
I'm
the
asking a real
conversation
question,
turns
'cause I need to
into
know it.
a laundry list of atrocities, then we have to post real numbers. And if what we're saying is right now there are in fact atrocities happening, what is being said by Palestine is we have 75 years of madness, and the
Israel
numbers
says
aren't
the
and the
same
numbers
thing.
aren't even close.
Astronomically different.
Why do you think that is? It's because Hamas sacrifices its own people. Here's what it is. The enemy is not the Palestinians. The enemy is not Israel. The enemy is Hamas.
I'll have a question.
And Israel's government and the state of
Hamas oppresses
Israel.
their
Let me
own
ask you a
people
question.
so brutally. The leaders of Hamas are billionaires who live lives of luxury in Qatar, and their people are destitute.
Let me ask a question.
You're going to hear
It's
from
a
me.
crime. It's a crime that they're committing against their
I'm
own
an
people.
Iranian who
and
hates
Jews hold space for their
fundamentalist
suffering.
Islam with every fiber of his being. It has destroyed my country. It has destroyed my family. I'm here because
You still look good though.
I look great. But when my country got fucked over by the United States and Great Britain in 1953, when they staged a coup to overthrow our democratically elected leader, who was trying to nationalize Iranian oil, America and the United States collaborated to stage a coup and install a puppet government of Reza Pahlavi, who then sold America and the United Kingdom oil for pennies. And they also made like dissenters disappear. It was a proper corrupt government. The people wanted change. In come these sort of Islamic, men who are saying, let's take Iran back. Let's get back to good core values. And they came in and they destroyed Iran.
When was Ayatollah around?
So we're talking 1979 is the Iranian Islamic Revolution, where a theocratic fascist government comes into play of proper perverts, like not casual garden variety. We're talking like Olympic grade chasters, like truly broken men who specifically require an uneducated and poor country in order to really gain a foothold for their corrupt power. So. And America and Great Britain had every hand in this. They armed this revolution. They staged the coup. And so Hamas serves at the interest of powers like these men, of corrupt Islamic, foul patriarchy.
You're so right.
Foul
Based
patriarchy.
in an ideology.
Based in an ideology, but at the end of the day, it channels up to these dudes who shouldn't be in power.
And look at what they did to the
I have a
Palestinians.
question.
They destroyed.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Don't talk for my people.
They destroyed Gaza.
Let me ask you a question.
And they
Let me ask
First
you a
of all, they didn't
question.
destroy Gaza.
Israel
Israel
destroyed Gaza. Israel
When the Jews
destroyed
left Gaza, when the Jews left Gaza, it was an oasis. It was beautiful. They left all their infrastructure. They said, keep the electric plants, keep the water infrastructure.
Who controls
And then
their-
they bombed the shit out of it for 16 years.
Let me
Can
finish
I-
the sentence.
Godfrey-
No, let me finish
No,
the
no,
sentence.
let me ask
they
you a
left their
question.
greenhouses. They said the Jews
bullshit.
didn't want to leave. The IDF came in and they dragged Jews out
No, they
forcibly. said-
didn't.
They dragged Jews out forcibly and they said, no, we're giving the land over. That's what has to happen for peace. They took everybody out.
then they put them in an open-air prison.
Thousands of people. And then Hamas was voted in by the Palestinian people. And what they did was dismantle all their infrastructure. They have
Your choice
no
was Hamas or
electricity.
Freddy Krueger,
They
okay?
have
So
no-
let's calm
Wait,
down
let me
with
finish-
being like,
let me
they were
finish the
voted in
sentence.
by the people.
Let me finish the sentence. They destroyed the infrastructure. They have one electric plant that barely works.
Who bombed it? Israel bombed it.
They dug up the water pipes to make bombs to target civilians, and then they got billions of dollars in foreign aid. The leaders kept all of it, left their people absolutely destitute, and moved to Qatar to live good lives.
Okay,
That
let me ask you a
sucks.
question.
First of all, are we arguing that Hamas are good people or that the Palestinian people are being oppressed and that
Thank
that's going to
you.
stop? Because
Thank
that's
you.
why is this being so conflated? I don't
Let
think
me-
anyone. I know I'm not
Let me
here
ask
to
this
be
is
like
Hamas.
Hamas is awesome.
No,
Hamas
listen,
fucking
listen.
sucks. But the only reason Hamas exists
It's because
is not only
Israel's a
because Israel
settler
helped trade
illegal
him,
colonial
but because
state.
Israel is giving them purpose. And sadly, they're the only ones that are fighting up for the Palestinian
Let me ask you a
people.
question.
Go ahead.
Israel's the
Let
only
me-
country that's
Karen,
ever
please.
offered the Palestinians
Wait,
a
let's-
state.
let her ask
The
her-
only one.
everybody-
Can someone turn her mic on?
Isn't that incredible?
No. Ask a question.
you get
Go
upset.
on.
Israel,
Go on.
Hamas
Ask
was
the-
formed in 1987, right? From 1945 to 1987, there was no Hamas. What was Israel fighting? Palestinian civilians.
Why did they do that? Because the Palestinian civilians
Because Israel came to
attacked them
colonialize.
first.
Because they're settler
Israel-
colonial
when
people.
Israelis came, when Jews came to Israel, okay, then named Palestine, what they wanted was to coexist with the people
So
who
why
were
did the
already
Nakba
there.
happen?
Because the Palestinians who were living there said, no.
It's their
We do
land.
not want to live
Of
in
course.
peace with you.
It's their land.
They said no. And
Israel came to colonize.
And the Jews said over and
Israel came
over.
to colonize.
They said over and over, we want to split this land with you. And
Why
have
do
two
they get
states.
the right to
In
just
fact,
come and take
all
shit?
the way into the 90s
Why
and
do they just
2000s.
come? Why do they get the right to just come and take shit?
Israel
took
was
anything.
committing
It was
violence against the
mandated.
British and against other people in the area.
Mandated by who? The
before
Palestinians? Because
1948.
Palestinians own
and
Palestine.
the British left.
There was a bombing at the King
Unfortunately,
David
they don't.
Hotel that was perpetrated by the Jewish militia. I mean, I think that's what's a problem that people want to keep adding in the conversation because it's horrible what happened, obviously, I think, to Israeli civilians
sure,
in the
obvious.
attack. But people want to make it clear that this is the things that the Palestinians have been not only experienced for 75
you're
years,
saying it
but the
didn't come out
type
of
of
nowhere.
atrocities that they faced during the creation, like in Tantura, like in Deir
Absolutely
Yassin,
not.
are just as equal, if not
Absolutely
worse.
Israel.
This has
Jews
been
have
historically
never,
proven.
Ever terrorized civilians the way that Hamas has terrorized civilians.
Can we show
Never
what-
ever.
Hello.
Israel does
Please,
not
pull up
target
all the
civilians.
videos.
Can you-
Israel does
Pull up
not.
all the videos.
Excuse me, sir.
Pull up all the
Israel does not
videos.
What
the
video?
Pull up all the videos.
First of all, there are plenty.
Israel
There are
does not
plenty of.
drag women from the.
No. What they do is
Okay,
they drag
are
dead
you-
bodies.
behave that
They
way.
drag dead
Hamas
bodies.
behaves
I'm
that
They
sorry.
way.
drag dead bodies.
Hamas behaves that way.
You with the guard, I say you with the guard freak. He ain't playing around with none of these lanes, but I guarantee you'll be entertained and watch him drop some knowledge on your brain.